let's get this stuff started. So,
Ready?
if you could first just state your name.
I'm Seamus Cook.
Great.
I'm a volunteer with Portland Tenants United.
Okay, how did you come to be a part of Portland Tenants United?
I just heard they were doing good work and decided to volunteer into a meeting and got acquainted with the group and learned what they were about and decided to volunteer.
What passion led you to volunteer for them?
Well, I'm a renter for one, and there is a housing crisis going on, and it's scary being a renter, not knowing when your rent will go up or if you'll be evicted, and so I felt led to security myself. And I also felt that this was a group that had a good vision for social change.
Great. When was Portland Tenants United formed, and when did your affiliation begin?
Officially formed, I want to say, I think about a year and some change. And it was in response to, well, there was all these different assemblies going on at the time, and all this kind of urgent organization that was needed because we realized there was no group really handling the crisis at all, essentially. There was different groups that were housing advocate groups, homeless advocate groups, but no specific group that was really like mobilizing people for progressive change.
Yeah.
My involvement happened last January.
So almost a year now.
Yes.
And what does this organization do to help our Portland community?
Several things. For one, we advocate kind of a vision, not only imminent steps to be taken, but like longer term steps that could help tenants, renters. We organize unions at complexes, and that's a newer project that we've been doing. We have two so far that we've organized. And we advocate for citywide changes in law, and also statewide changes in law.
Sweet. And with that question, we're going to segue into some of the major victories you guys have had over the few years and some of the major struggles and challenges you faced.
So many. Well, victories, as I said, we've organized two unions at complexes, which was kind of unprecedented in Portland. And a tenant union is new to this area. So what does that mean, and it kind of helps make that a realistic, viable thing. And hopefully those will spread as people learn more about them and why you might want to join one, for example. I would say another victory is that we've changed the discussion publicly about the housing crisis, and we focused it away from, not away, but we've included tenant issues as being one of the main planks. You know, there was already a rent crisis happening, and we kind of put forth solutions that nobody was talking about at the time. And now everybody's talking about rent stabilization, which is rent control, basically, ending no-cause evictions. And those two things are going to be talked about in Salem this coming session, starting in January. So we're taking part of that process as well. But then other victories, for example, there was a person last February, who was going to be evicted from his apartment, and it was a man, an elderly person who's been there for like 23 years, and just by the threat of mobilizing people to defend him, they backed off and he stayed in his home. So those are some of the victories. We helped form a coalition around housing issues, which, as I mentioned, there will be a press conference tomorrow at 10 a.m. at City Hall with labor leaders and Commissioner-elect Chloe Bailey, who won her campaign on a tenants' rights plank, which we also informed. Mayor-elect Ted Wheeler took his housing platform from us as well. We helped him shape that. So we've had our hands in all these different features.
Wonderful. So, did you mention any of the major struggles?
No.
Yeah.
So many struggles. How much time do we have here? Well, one struggle, being a new group, we have no funding. We're all volunteer-led. So that right there is almost impossible to overcome because we don't have jobs. We're busy people for the most part, and doing this on a voluntary basis is going to kill you. So that alone, organization in itself, being a volunteer-led group, is so hard. So, and we're still to this day, like, how do we make this function with very little resources? We have a lot of volunteers, but how do we use them most effectively? How do we make decisions in a productive, efficient way? How are we most strategic? How do we focus our energy where we have it so we get the maximum punch? And also, like, being a new group, how do you gain legitimacy in the eyes of people? because the old groups were like, who are these young upstarts, And I think it was Gandhi who said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, stuff like that, So we're past the ignore and laugh phase, and now a lot of the struggle has also overcome via our successes in organizing. And so now we've been accepted by old school organizations, liberal left labor groups.
Such as?
I'm in unions, I'm in a union myself, and a lot of these, I would argue, a lot of these organizations function from an old school perspective, and we function from a social movement perspective. We're pushing the movement. We're not waiting for people. We're not, asking politicians. We're demanding them from politicians. And we're kind of part of this new culture in the city that has a more proactive, aggressive, militant approach.
But have those relationships with more established groups, has that helped you guys in your mission as well?
Oh, totally. I would argue that without broad coalitions, our movement, the left in general, is going to be weak and marginalized. So we have to, where we can, build strong coalitions. And that's been part of our strategy since day one. By reaching out to groups, asking them to pass a resolution, asking them to get involved in events, to co-organize events, to join our rallies, to send their people, to bring their banners, to make it seem like, to make it be an actual united, broad coalition.
What's the biggest problems you've seen with how our city treats its renters?
Well, for one, we have no rights. So that's hard to fathom being a renter. My landlord, and until a year ago, we had even less rights. We still have very little rights. But, at any time, my landlord can say, you're evicted. And can give me no reason. And I've been in my home for many years. He can say, later, you have 90 days to vacate, and that's totally legal. The only thing we have to protect us is you can't be retaliatory and you can't be discriminatory. But those two things are very hard to prove. So a rent raise of $1,000 can happen any day. They just say, here's your notice of a humongous increase. How do you like it? Yeah, so in other cities, there's much stronger protections. And Portland is in the Stone Age with how we treat our tenants.
So do you think landlords have too much power?
Obviously, and it's interesting that they know it too. And so the incoming legislation being proposed to limit their power and strengthen tenant power has created a huge backlash from them. They created a PAC to get money to the politicians called the Equitable Housing PAC. It has already raised hundreds of thousands of dollars very quickly. They're using it. They're throwing money at politicians left and right. They are saying that all these radical groups are trying to get radical protections in place, and fear mongering their base. And they're very powerful people. The landlord and the real estate lobby wields tremendous power in the city and state, and so they want to stop this by any means necessary.
What policies need to be changed in order to repair from this housing crisis?
So right now, Oregon, there is a statewide preemption on rent control, meaning that local jurisdictions, local cities and counties can't pass rent control. And that was passed in the 80s in response to a growing movement of tenants who were rising up. And the business lobby was proactive and put that in place. They bought that legislation and Salem. So overturning the preemption and allowing cities like Portland to have rent control would be a great thing. There's a similar, not the same, but there's a similar laws against ending no cause evictions. And there's dispute on what is legal or not legal to pass that law. But so right now it's landlords can just no cause eviction, and that has to be changed, obviously. There's very little infrastructure in place legally, politically to help renters out. If you're a renter and you have an issue with your landlord, if you think you're being retaliated against, you call the city and they say, call this nonprofit, and they have a hotline. The tenants volunteer rent, and they might not get back to you for a while, and you just don't have any venue to get justice. Unless you have an attorney, which most tenants don't. And they'll tell you, here, get an attorney. Well, I can't afford an attorney. If I lose, I have to pay their legal fees as well. And most tenants won't do that. So,
what social factors are contributing to the housing crisis?
Good questions. Well, for one, Portland is now a popular destination, so there's a bigger demand for housing in Portland, and there's not enough supply. So that's one of the broader issues, and that creates a low vacancy rate, which means there's very little availability for apartments, and that gives landlords a ton of leverage, and that's very little power. So if there was more availability, they wouldn't raise the rent so high, because we would have enough choice to say, I'm not going to stay here, I'll go somewhere else for cheaper, but our options are so limited because of that. There's also Airbnb. They are taking, it's not a great number, but there's different numbers of how many thousands of rental units that used to be full-time, full long-year rentals are now vacation rentals, basically. And they're seasonal for summertime, and that takes the housing stock away, which creates more of a supply crunch. What else is going on?
This is only about 10 minutes from us.
Main points are good. So, what can the average person do to help this housing crisis?
Well,
what do you want to see from your community? What do you want to see from your peers?
I mean, that's kind of a trick question, because average people, I interpret that to mean like non-political people.
Yeah.
So we need average people to become political.
So maybe I'll rephrase that question. What can somebody who is actively seeking out how they can help, what can they do?
Sure. Well, you can join our organization, for one, and be a volunteer for Portland Tenants United. There's going to be a lot of actions coming up that you can join just as a spectator and to learn about stuff, especially as the legislature gets into gear again and has these issues as their priority. So there's going to be like town halls across the city about housing stuff. Actions, rallies, demonstrations, that kind of thing.
Alright.
Or, I mean, if you were really proactive, you could form a union at your complex, and that's a scary thing, but we can help you do it.
Okay. So you would be willing to help other startup organizations organize?
Totally, yeah.
Great. Has there been any positive progress to solving this housing crisis from the city?
There has. Last year there were some baby steps that were taken to give renters more notice of rent increases. So before it was 30 days, and you were told you gotta move in 30 days, and that's devastating. Now you have 90 days, but that's kind of just pressing the snooze button a little bit. You're still gonna be in trouble. And now with Mayor-elect Ted Wheeler into office, he brought a lot of our demands when he campaigned, as did our new city commissioner, Paul Bailey, who we also kind of helped policy-wise with our platform for tenants issues. So with those two coming in office, the door is open wider for this issue to be addressed. And if a big enough groundswell happens, then I'm confident that there's going to be some pretty major changes happening at the city level.
Great. That's good to hear then. And I think we covered all of the questions that I raised here. I would like to ask you what your opinions are on the Portland protests going on right now.
Well, interestingly, so the newest group that has arisen, called Portland Resistance, they include one of our demands in their platform, actually. So I know some of the people who are in that group, and they really, because of our work, they realize that this is an important issue that could help them with their cause. So they're trying to, yes, protest Trump, but also have energy shifted to local politics and make changes locally. So part of that is, making us secure in our homes. There's people who are afraid, rightfully so, about what's going to happen, and addressing local issues and making people feel safe via not being afraid of deportation, not being afraid of hate crimes, not being afraid of eviction in your home. So actually, they're going to speak at our press conference tomorrow too.